Good morning,
Morning,
everyone.
Ralph.
Good morning, everyone. So the Residential Sound Insulation Committee meeting is now come to order. First, we need to take a roll call.
Village of Bensonville.
Here.
City of Chicago 41st Ward.
Here.
City of Des Plaines. Melrose Park.
Here.
Norridge.
Here.
Park Ridge.
Here.
Rosemont. And Schiller Park.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. I would like to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I will start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Does anyone have any question, comments, or corrections to the last meetings from May 12th meeting minutes? If not, I'd like to take a vote.
Norge will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Park Ridge will second.
Excellent. Motion passes.
We need to do a
Oh,
roll call.
gotta
Sorry.
vote.
Roll call.
Virtual.
Oh, thank you.
Bensonville.
Yes.
City of Chicago 41st Ward.
Yes.
Melrose Park.
Yes.
Norridge.
Yes.
Park Ridge.
Yes.
And Schiller Park. Schiller Park.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Okay, motion carries.
Now we move forward to on the status of the Odor Windows. I don't know if Doug is going to be presenting that.
Hi, Chairman, it's Aaron. Good morning.
Oh,
I'm going to go
Aaron.
ahead
Hi,
and get us
Aaron.
started. Hi,
Hi,
I'm sorry.
Aaron. Good to see you.
Thank you, sir. You too. Good morning, everyone. I wanted to take a few minutes today and let you know what's going on with odorous windows. We have not talked about that topic for quite some time, but all of us have been doing a lot of work. So I'm going to get us started and then open the floor to Vildana and Doug in case I miss anything. Maura, can I go ahead and share my screen? We've got some website things that I want to show the committee in case they get asked by their constituents. Maura, can I share?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm looking.
So Chairman, I think what I'll do is show you what's on the website first and then give you some backstory.
Okay.
Can you now, will it work?
Yeah, let me go ahead and try it, Maura.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Chairman, this is the main page, flychicago.com. At the bottom of the screen, you can always get to the noise programs very quickly. There's a link at the bottom for O'Hare Noise Management and one for Midway Noise Management. So when you go to O'Hare Noise Management, I want to show you where we have put all of the information with regard to odorous windows. And we have prepared a lot of text with some frequently asked questions. And I'm going to walk you through that very quickly. So on the left-hand side, this is the main page. You can either get to it from the top by going to O'Hare Noise, Sound Insulation, and then you're going to see some things on the right-hand side. Specifically, we've got questions on there with respect to COVID. That's important because, as we've talked about in recent months, we have 3 different sound insulation efforts that are going on. We're still doing sound insulation for homes for the first time for OMP, and we'll talk about that later in the meeting. We've got homes with mechanical problems and we've got homes with odor problems. So for any of those, right, the pandemic is affecting how Doug's team does their work. So we've carved out how we're handling COVID and just health protocols and zip code monitoring that we're doing. So there's a whole separate page for COVID-19, and I'll show that to you in a minute. The next thing is we've got a separate web page for RSIP Advisory Committee. Remember that the reason why we have not been talking about this with you is that the Illinois General Assembly under state law created this entirely separate oversight committee. And Doug and Vildana have been doing a lot of public meetings in that regard. Over the past year, they've done 12 or 13 meetings. And so there's a whole webpage about who's on the committee, what they're working on, their agendas, their meeting minutes, all that. So you can at least see what's being discussed with that other governmental body. Then we have a separate page for odorous windows and a separate page for mechanical issues. And we still have our good old faithful page for property locator, which is how do I look up my address and see if I'm inside or outside the OMP contour. Now, remember that for OMP, all enrollment periods are closed for quite some time. So whoever signed up, they're in phases 17, 18, 19. But that tool is still active. So you can access these sub pages either from the top by going to O'Hare Noise, going to sound insulation and going over to the right, or you can access it on the left-hand side if you click on sound insulation. And then if you scroll down, we've got some of our basic fact sheets here in 3 languages, but you can also get to those same pages here in the middle of the screen. In any case, there's a lot of content. So specifically, let me show you what's going on with odorous windows. When you go to odorous windows, this content is fairly current. Doug's team is reviewing our website every 2 weeks to make sure that we are keeping current with our content. And if we have any updates, we're making those on a fairly regular basis. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of the website, and then we're going to get into some of the substance. There's a bit of an intro, right? If your constituents have any questions, it's the same phone numbers that you always call in residential sound. Call the main office for O'Hare, call the main office for Midway. The phone number for O'Hare is right here at the top of the page, 894-3636. That is not the phone number for eligibility. That's if you've been in sound insulation and you're having a problem with odorous window, call that number, and then Doug's staff can help the homeowner navigate that issue. The next section is we're just giving an overview of the time and the timeline. We've been working on this issue for several years. So this is a high-level overview. This next section, window and door replacement, is really about the new state law that was passed 2 years ago, the fact that the advisory committee has met, and some of the decisions that they've already reached and voted on. We're going to come back to legal notice in a minute because that's really my top line update for you today. And then at the bottom, we've been carrying additional information with the reports and status letters over the past 3.5 years, and that information is retained. And then we've got some information that we just uploaded a month ago in August. Importantly, at the bottom of the page, we've got some common questions, and they are numbered Q001, which stands for question, O for odor, number 1, and then there's an answer. There's Q&A, and when you scroll down, just for odorous windows alone, there is a series of 22 questions and answers. The point of me telling you all this is that there's a lot of information on our website. And if any of your constituents have questions, please feel free to call the program office. And just as we talked about the phone numbers at the top of the page, it's also here at the very bottom of the page, right? Just so that as you go down the page, that phone number is readily available. The last thing on this issue before I wrap up and ask Vildana and Doug if they have anything they want to add, I want to go back to the middle of the page, because since we've met with this committee in May, we hit a major milestone, which was publication of a legal notice required under the state law. So the odorous window law said, you know, at some point, the program operator, which is the CDA, has to notify all of the people that got vinyl windows for RSIP, you have to notify them that there's this potential problem. And then upon that notification, we start a 6-month clock. And that 6-month clock is dictated in the state law. So I want to highlight for you, we did publish that legal notice on August 20th, about, call it 5 or 6 weeks ago, in the Chicago Tribune. And we were also required by law, we sent a letter to all RSIP participants at both airports, and that was over 21,000 homes. So those letters went out. We did the legal notice in the Tribune. In addition to that, we did a legal notice in a South Side local paper. We did a legal notice of the same type in Polish in a paper here in Chicago called the Polish Daily News. And then we did a Spanish version in a paper called Fin de Semana. Now, Fin de Semana has since stopped publication. We were notified by the Chicago Tribune that they've stopped publishing Fin de Semana. So if we need to do Spanish notices in the future, we'll use a different paper that's published here in the Chicago metro area. So all that being said, just know that all the RSIP homeowners did get a letter from my office, and we did legal notices in the Trib, the Southwest News Herald for Midway, the Polish Daily News, and the Fin de Semana. So we've done 4 newspaper notices. The most important thing is that the 6-month clock ends in February. So we started on August 20th, and this sentence in the middle of the page is very important. The participant, being the homeowner, will need to call our office by February 21st of 22 if you want to request an odor inspection. Now, again, we hope that many homeowners are doing just fine. They don't have odors. If they do, though, they need to call our office by February 21st. So just know that we are now within the 6-month period. The notification period is in effect, and we want to make sure that we're telling all of you often. The other thing that I wanted to open it up for is what resources we can provide to anyone here on the committee in terms of helping you with outreach. So when the CDA was preparing this notice, we agreed that for Midway, it was helpful to publish the notice in a local newspaper that a lot of the Midway residents read. At O'Hare, though, there are multiple newspapers representing the northwest side of the city and the northwest suburbs. So we agreed that we would work through the individual village halls, right? Work through Bensonville Village Hall, Wooddale City Hall, Park Ridge, whomever. And so that's why I wanted to bring this back to the committee today, because we wanted to let you know we're in that 6-month period. We have 5 months to go. And we at the CDA want to make ourselves available if any of the committee members here today would like to have a conversation about how to do additional outreach in your community. So I want to offer that. And at the same time, I just want to open the floor to Vildana and Doug in case there's anything that I've missed that you think that I need to highlight for the residential committee.
Good morning, everyone. This is Vildana. I would just, you might be interested in how many O'Hare homes are affected or in how many homes the odor has been confirmed. And Doug may have some additional numbers for you, but I'll just briefly go over the O'Hare home confirmation numbers. So the total number of homes with confirmed odor at O'Hare is 213. And I can break it down by community. So far in Bensonville, we confirmed 20 homes, in Chicago, 85. Unincorporated Cook County, Layden Township, 2 homes, Des Plaines, 29. Elk Grove Village, 11. Norwood Park, 8. Park Ridge, 13. Rosemont, 13. Schiller Park, 10. Unincorporated Cook County, 1. And Wooddale, 21. For a total of 213.
Vildana, can you clarify? You said Norwood Park Township or Norridge?
I said Norwood Park Township.
Okay, so that's unincorporated Cook County. So at the end of your report, you said unincorporated Cook County,
Yeah.
1 home. Do we know which township?
Well, I already have Layden at 2, Norwood Park at 8. No, the list I have doesn't specify that. I can confirm. But
Okay.
so far, non-incorporated Cook, there are 4 homes confirmed.
Okay. And you said the total of all of those is 213?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's currently right now, they're still having problems or those have been resolved?
No, they just got on our list. This is the number of homeowners who called with an odor complaint, and the RSIP staff confirmed odors in 213 homes. That means we are aware of these homes. They will get windows and doors replaced, but have not received those products as of yet.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, to add on to what Vildana said, those are homeowners that have called us, and Doug's team has sent his staff, his team has gone in the field to the home to confirm. We agree that the odors are present and that they are the offensive odor. That's a problem. And so it's 213 and counting. And we just wanted to flag for you that there are still 5 months that we are receiving calls. And so we will continue to update you in your future meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Aaron, to do a follow-up in Norwich, I think I had 4 phone calls. Most of them thought it might have been a scam letter. And I think one person claimed they had the smell, but I was thinking our windows have been in at least 15 years. So we never had any problems way back when. So they may have called the one person, but most people thought it was a scam letter. And I assured them it was not.
Right. So Brian, it is absolutely not. Like, this is pretty serious business. Like, this has the attention of the Illinois General Assembly. And in a way that's good because they are providing state funding to help us fix this problem. That is not a scam letter. Like, that's very serious. And so just know, you know, if Vildana and I and Doug can help you, we're happy to spend some time with you just to get you a little bit more familiar in case you do get additional resident calls.
Well, no, people always call us because they get stuff from the gas company and everybody about these different, I'm not going to say scams, but we'll fix your sewer, we'll fix your heater. So they just call to make sure that it's a legit letter. That's all.
Yeah. So Brian, I'm also going to click on this link for you because this pulls up the letter. This is our template. You can see where it just says current homeowner, and these are merge fields. But this is the template letter. So theoretically, all of your residents are going to get a letter on CDA letterhead that looks like this, you know, and at the bottom, it's, you know, commissioner's signature block. So just know that this is what it looks like. We're posting it so that everybody can see this is the template. And the only difference would be that the homeowner's address, you know, city, state, and zip code would be filled in from the mail merge.
Right. Yeah. Some people brought that letter in. So I saw the letter. So it was no problem. But thank you for your help.
Yes. Doug, is there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, Aaron, I just wanted to know, would you like me to mention a couple other outreach items that we've been working on lately?
Yes.
One, sequencing.
Yes, please.
Okay, so just so everyone is aware, the Residential Advisory Committee, Residential Sound Installation Program Advisory Committee finalized the sequencing of homes over the summer. And basically what it was placed each home that had a confirmed odor from a certain time period in April of this year. So there were 709 homes. So there was some sequencing criteria that was developed and some calculations and formulas that were put in place to identify essentially the order in which homes would be treated. So each home that was had a confirmed odor at the time was assigned a number from number 1 through 709. So number 1 being that would be the first home that would get addressed as soon as a construction contract is put in place. So just so you're aware, we did send a letter out to those 709 homeowners to tell them exactly what number they are in that sequencing order. So those letters went out right around that August 20th timeframe, just so everybody is aware when they get that other letter that was general about making sure people request an odor inspection. These 709 people got that other letter that tells them what their place in line is, so they know they don't have to call us and ask for another odor inspection.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. The reason why that's important is because we have a number of affected homeowners, but there's limited funding. And so it was critically important that we figure out a prioritization, or what we call a sequencing. And that's why, right, based on the available state revenues, this problem will take us several years to solve with the funding available, right? The General Assembly is setting aside revenues from jet fuel sales tax to be used for airport windows and doors in our program. And right, the funding that's made available to us is dependent on the jet fuel sales tax collected, which of course is dependent on the amount of jet fuel purchased, which is dependent on the number of flights, which are rebounding as a result of the pandemic. So this program will take several years to implement, and that's why the sequencing plan was so important, because we needed to figure out who's going to go first in this multi-year program.
Okay, the other communication that we are sending out to people is a quarterly report, and that was required in that state statute. That report goes out to people who have a valid claim, and we are considering a valid claim a home that has a confirmed odor. So just so you're aware, we did send out 3 quarterly reports so far. The next quarter, or the current quarter, ends at the end of this month. So by the middle of next month, we will be sending a quarterly report to those people who have had a confirmed odor. So each of those 213 homes that Vildana mentioned will get that quarterly report. So that basically just gives an update of things that the advisory committee has been working on, some updated data, just so people are aware of how things are progressing each quarter. Those were the 2 informational things that we've been sending to homeowners. And another thing I'd like to point out, if I may, is our odor inspections. So just so everyone's aware, we do have a big team of people who are performing these odor inspections. And as you might guess, we have a lot of people calling, requesting odor inspections since that notice went out near the end of August. So we are currently scheduling appointments through December, and we are typically conducting about 16 odor inspections each day. So we are working on getting as many done as we can. And we anticipate those to go on for several months now with this notice.
So once you, I'm sorry. So once you,
go ahead, Rob.
I was going to say, once we meet that February 21st of 22 deadline for everyone to put the reports in if they have odor or windows or not, what's the time frame after that to get them resolved?
So Chairman, I'll answer that. So the first thing we'll do is, even if people call on the next to last or the last day, it will take Doug's team some time to actually schedule those appointments to confirm. So we're not required by law to confirm the odor by February 2nd. That's only a duty to the homeowner to let us know that you have a concern. So after February 22nd, Doug's team will continue to do odor inspections, and eventually we'll get all of them done. And then we'll be pencils down. We'll know how many homes called and how many homes were confirmed. So we don't know how long that'll take at this point, because we don't know if we're going to get a lot of calls right now at the beginning of the 6-month period, and whether it will taper over the next, upcoming months, or if it will be steady throughout the 6-month period. So after February 2nd, we'll continue to do odor inspections. Eventually we'll complete all of those. And then again, on a yearly basis, we'll get funding from the state of Illinois. And our goal is to do a construction contract to do the repairs on a yearly basis. So that will happen. At this point, we forecast that that's going to happen for at least the next 3 to 4 years, because there are so many homes to do with limited funding.
I see. Thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Chair, it looks like Ernie has his hand raised.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Aaron, I got a question and then a request. The question is on the sales tax revenue from Jet A. Is that anywhere statewide? So if they're buying it in Moline, does that sales tax revenue pay for part of this, or is it a specific airport or region that we're collecting that tax revenue from?
It's statewide, Ernie. So the General Assembly determined that of all the jet fuel sales tax revenues collected for the state, there would be a set aside up to $7.5 million per year made available for window and door, which happens to be for O'Hare and Midway, right? Because I think the only other, I'm only aware of one other airport in the state that's doing sound insulation, and I believe that's Chicago Executive, and they have a brand new program that they're launching. So the General Assembly determined that they would take the statewide revenues and set aside to help solve this problem.
Great, thank you. And then the request is, can we get a list of those residences that have already requested remediation on the odorous windows? And the reason for the request is I'd like to be able to share with city staff so that when that resident calls in, city staff's already aware that they've made the request.
Yeah, Ernie, I'm not sure yet. I can't answer that definitively. We're pretty protective of people's addresses under FOIA purposes. So tell you what, we will see what we can do and report back. I think there's a way to help get you some information and still ensure privacy of the homeowners. So let me talk to Vildana and Doug, and we'll report back.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Welcome.
Vildana or Doug, anything else for you on this topic?
Not for me.
No, I can't think of anything. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, that concludes our report on that, and I'm happy to answer any questions of the committee for that topic.
Thanks, Aaron. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Aaron, is there historically, is there an average time to onset of the odor from the windows that you can say, okay, a year after they were installed, they start smelling, or is it right out of the box that they smell, or can you give us any clue as to when to expect the odor if it's going to show up?
Yeah, Frank, thank you. That's a good question. There isn't a clear pattern. I can tell you that generally it's all coming from one manufacturer, largely, not exclusively. Doug, we had windows from Republic, Sound Solutions, and maybe a few from Harvey. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so Frank, it really started with one particular manufacturer, which was Sound Solutions. And one of the challenges we have with the homeowners is trying to distinguish what's in the state law. It's referred to as an offensive odor, which means the window is off-gassing and it's not just normal vinyl smell, it's a problem. I think the short answer to your question is there's no discernible pattern. It's not clear cut. Sometimes people smell it after 2 to 5 years. Other times people have had their windows 8 to 10 years and it just emerges. The studies that we did a couple of years ago indicated that the source of the primary source of the odor was the PVC coating on the window screen mesh. And I think when it's heat activated, maybe that PVC coating is breaking down and causing some off-gas odor. So of course we want to replace the window and make that problem go away. But like I said, I think there's no discernible pattern. It was at both airports. There's a larger share of problems at Midway, but O'Hare is not immune to the problem. But it's multiple contracts, at least 2 or 3 suppliers over a range of years.
Okay, and one last question on the issue of the number that you gave to each of the homeowners, 1 through 790 or whatever it was. Can you share the distribution of where those numbers are so that we could tell the people, yes, it was done in a fair way, above board? You know,
Yeah, Frank,
one
so-
community wasn't favored over another, something like that.
Yeah, let me show you something. So on the website, I'm going to share, I want to show you Doug, did we upload the sequencing plan? I'm sorry, the sequencing criteria.
Criteria is uploaded, yes.
Is it on the committee webpage or the odorous window webpage?
I believe it's on the committee webpage.
Okay, so Frank, if you go to our website, whether you go this way to advisory committee, or you can access it on the left-hand side. This is the committee membership, their meeting schedule.
Oh, no, it's not there.
Yeah, so did we put it on odorous windows or have we not yet uploaded it?
I thought it's up there. I forget where we put it though.
Okay, is Matt on this meeting?
No, he is not. He's on another meeting right now.
Okay, Frank, give me just a sec. Let me see if we can find that for you. We thought we had uploaded the criteria that the advisory committee had approved. We talked about uploading that. Perhaps we have not yet done it yet.
Aaron,
But I
go
will
up.
tell you that the advisory committee signed off and voted on 6 different criteria. It wasn't just first come, first serve. There were 6 criteria with different weighting factors in order to make it as objective as possible. And
Aaron, you can go above additional information.
which is down, scroll down or scroll up.
Scroll up. Yep. Keep going up. Keep going up, up, up. Okay, hold on. In these 2 paragraphs.
Oh, right here.
There it is.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. So Frank, right here, this is the web page for the RSIP odorous windows. If you go down to this second section, window and door replacements, the sequencing criteria fact sheet, I'll show that to you real quick. That is a link, and you're going to get a 3-page document. And here are where the criteria are identified. So this was done at the February meeting. We had worked on this 2 or 3 public meetings prior to this, and then they took a vote at the February meeting and approved these 6 criteria and the weight that each was assigned. So the 6 criteria are listed here, and their relative weights. There's an 80-12, 2-2-2-2 split. And then there's some information about what each of those means and how the weighting was applied. So this is the criteria that we applied in order to sequence homes 1 through 709. Does that help, Frank?
Yes, it does. The only thing that troubles me a little bit is that when the money runs out, it runs out. If people don't get in and they do have a real problem, they shouldn't just be left out in the cold, so to speak. The windows should be replaced, regardless of whether there's money left or not.
Right. So just know that the state law just says that notification will, occur over a 6-month period. So they still have 5 months to call us. And that's why we wanted to come to all of you today, just to raise awareness. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call us. After 6 months, though, that notification period ends. And as we've talked about, we already have 200 O'Hare homes, and we anticipate more people calling and us getting more confirmations. And it'll take us 3, 4, maybe even 5 years to address all of these windows as funds become available. But yes, we want to make sure that everybody calls us before February 22nd.
Okay, so would it be fair to say then that anyone who has replacement windows from the CDA who calls before February 22nd and has a valid point, they have odorous windows, that those windows will be replaced? Would that be fair?
Yes, that's the point of the program. So we want to make sure you'll be surprised. We actually get calls from people that never got our windows. They're like, hey, we want our windows replaced. And we look it up and we say, we've never been to your house. So,
Right.
so for the folks that have enrolled, the 11,500 at O'Hare and the 10,100 at Midway, they've all received letters from us. And right, they may not be experiencing an odor today, but if they do anytime in the next 5 months, don't hesitate, give us a call, and then Doug's staff will go out in the field to the home and confirm. And that actually reminds me of one more thing. If at first we do not confirm an odor, we leave it open-ended with the homeowner, right? We don't smell an odor today, but we will be happy to come back on another day. And so, right, we'll leave it open-ended for a period of time, and we'll get to that detail over the next few months, but just have them call us and that'll get the process started. Because we want to make sure that everybody's in the queue that wants to be in the queue.
Is there an odor meter or a proboscis that's being used to determine if there is an odor?
No, you know what? It's a sniff test. One of the things that our experts told us is that the human nose is actually more sensitive than a lot of the odor meters that you could use that you're describing. So just as the homeowners are using their nose, so are we as a confirmation. But again, that's why if we don't smell it on the first visit, we do leave it open-ended that we can come back when the homeowner is ready.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I think that completes our report on this topic.
Thanks, Aaron. Good work. So we're moving on to the RSIP O'Hare Phase 17 status. More information, Aaron, I'm sure you're going to.
Yeah, so Chairman, let's get back to regular sound insulation for the first time. These are the OMP homes. And for phases 17, 18, and 19, I'm going to go ahead and have Doug make that report on behalf of the CDA.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to pull up the first report for O'Hare Phase 17. I hope everyone can see that. Oh, I've got the wrong screen here. Let me try that again.
Yeah, Doug, you're fine. The file you keep showing us is fine. It's phase 17.
Oh, it pops up on my other monitor. That's odd. Okay, so you can see the report for phase 17?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry about that. So this is, it might be a little bit too small for you, and I'm basically going to concentrate on things from this center column, Chicago historical, because that's the progress that has been made lately. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, just so you can see those numbers in that column a little better. So the first point I wanted to remind everyone, down here in this row called home inventories completed to date, we did complete 132 home inventory appointments several months ago. I can't remember exactly when that occurred, probably in 2017 sometime. But since that time, 3 homeowners decided to drop from the program. So we are currently tracking 129 homes, and that's shown right here under contract number 3. So the good news is we did get a construction contract awarded to Blinderman Construction on July 21st of this year. And the notice to proceed was issued to Blinderman Construction on August 6th. So since August 6th, Blinderman Construction has been working on a lot of preliminary things to get work in place. They worked on a lot of submittals. They're still doing a lot of submittals. And the next step would be field measurement appointments. So on here, we're hoping that field measurement appointments will start in the 4th quarter of 2021. But just so you're aware, there have been some difficulties in getting information from some of the material suppliers. And we think it's mainly due to COVID-19 and supply chain issues that the suppliers may be having on their whole business line for other work, not just this work. It may be delaying some of the submittals that they're giving the contractors. So this fourth quarter of 2021 of getting into homes for field measurement appointments is the best case scenario. So we hope that will stay. And if everything goes smooth, just so you're aware, construction in homes, we're hoping that will start in the first quarter of 2022 and be complete in the second quarter of 2022. So that's it for the updates for O'Hare Phase 17. Are there any questions for that before we move on to Phase 18?
Guess not. So let's move on to phase 18 status, please.
Okay, here's Phase 18. I will try and zoom in on this a little bit. Let's try 40. That's too large. All right, this is a little small. It's small on my screen. I don't know how it is on your screen, but there are some updates on this phase as well that I kind of want to point out. We have had a few changes in enrollment. So we're currently at 390 homes. So just real quick, I'd like to go over these for each community. Bensonville has 69, Chicago 102, Des Plaines 24, Norridge 1, Park Ridge 42, Rosemont 4, Schiller Park 86, Dale 46, unincorporated Cook County 15, and unincorporated DuPage County at 1. So the next row, you'll see the number of homes that did not enroll in Phase 18. The next section down here, we are nearly complete with home inventory appointments. All of them are complete except for one home in Schiller Park. That's this column right here. I guess I lost the heading there. So there's one home that we still need to complete a field measurement appointment.
No, home inventory.
Home inventory appointment, and we hope to be in that home soon. So down here is our breakdown of number of homes by community for the first construction contract. So currently we have 224 homes. We had 225 recently, but one homeowner recently dropped from the program. So we're at 224. The other piece of good news is a construction contract was awarded again to Blinderman Construction, and that contract was awarded on June 6th. And the notice to proceed was issued on June 25th. So this contract was awarded ahead of Phase 17, so there has been more progress so far. So I'm going to jump down to the next page to show you the field measurement status. We have been successful in conducting several field measurement appointments. So far, those appointments started on September 13th because that's when the contractor finished the submittals that were needed to be in place before field measurements could start. So in Chicago, we did 13 field measurement appointments so far. Des Plaines 9, Norridge 1, Park Ridge 1, Rosemont 2, and unincorporated Cook County 4. So that's some progress. We're continuing to proceed with those appointments right now. So we hope those will be done soon. The next point, approximate construction start date. Again, this is all contingent on the suppliers being able to produce these custom windows and doors for these homes. It's still up in the air as to how long that will take in this market today, but we're hoping we can start in homes near the end of the fourth quarter of 2021, but that's yet to be seen. So hopefully they can end those, that construction can end in these homes in the first quarter of 2022. So that's really the only updates for Phase 18 for now. Any questions on that before we go on to Phase 19?
Let's move on to phase 19 then, Doug. Thank you.
Okay, we've got some additional progress for Phase 19. We do have some adjustments in enrollment. There's currently 381 homes. But just so you're aware, some of these numbers did adjust since we met in April of earlier this year. Some of it had to do with homeowners not wanting to participate in phase 18 quite yet. They weren't quite ready. So we moved a couple homes to phase 19. So I'll go through this real quick. So these are people who have enrolled so far: Bensonville 29, Chicago non-historical 173. We have 6 historical homes in Chicago. Des Plaines 14 homes, Park Ridge 76 homes, Rosemont 6 homes, Schiller Park 35, Wooddale 29, unincorporated Cook County 6, and unincorporated DuPage County 7. And then just to note, there are 750 homes spread throughout these communities that did not enroll. I keep bouncing back left and right, so is that too small to see? The next section I wanted to go over was the home inventories. So we did have a little bit of a delay. Like Aaron was saying earlier, we're monitoring a lot of COVID-19 concerns and procedures and everything like that. So one of the things we are monitoring is the 7-day rolling average positivity rate for COVID-19 in each individual zip code around the airport. And just so you know, in August, the positivity rate was starting to spike. So for about 6 weeks, there were several zip codes around O'Hare that we could not get into because of the high positivity rate. So these home inventories, we were hoping we would have been complete by now, but we had a little bit of a delay. Last week, there was only 1 zip code so far that is above the 5% threshold that was put in place. So we are proceeding now with many of these home inventory appointments. There's 321 complete. So overall, that's 84%. So I guess I'll just go through these numbers real quick. 26 in Bensonville, 131 non-historical in Chicago, 3 historical in Chicago, 13 in Des Plaines, 74 in Park Ridge, 6 in Rosemont, 28 in Schiller Park, 28 in Wooddale, 6 in unincorporated Cook County, and 6 in unincorporated DuPage County. So for the next construction contracts for O'Hare Phase 19, we're planning on having 2 contracts. One is going to be called 19A, and that will include 200 homes. We have not divided those up by community in that, but it'll most likely be the first home inventories that will be complete will be in that phase generally. And then 19B, all of the other homes. But just so you're aware, we are planning on putting the historic homes in 19B, all of the historic homes in that, because there are specific specification requirements that are easier to put in 1 contract than in 2 contracts. So those homes will be put in 19B. That was it for phase 19 for now.
Is there any idea of when the whole program will be complete as far as each phase, 17, 18, and 19? Is there like a deadline that we need to meet for final
There is
completion of our
not,
work?
Chairman, this is Aaron. We've been relieved of that duty by the FAA. So originally the goal was to finish all sound insulation by the time we finish the O&P runways. But I wrote a letter to the FAA saying, hey, given the fact that we've had a long delay as a result of odorous windows, and we've had a second long delay as a result of the pandemic and not being able to get into people's homes in order to complete the work, the FAA has instructed us to keep going. They understand the situation that we're in. And so, you know, like at the bottom of Doug's sheet in front of you, theoretically, if we're advertising for bids in first quarter of 22, probably within a year of that, we will finish all the homes for O&P. So,
Okay.
so I would say late 22, early 23. And we told the FAA almost a year ago that we predicted that we were going to have this delay. and the FAA understands it, and they've just advised us to keep going.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions before we move on? Okay, so the next ONCC Residential Sound Installation Committee will be, meeting will be November 10th, 2021, most likely Zoom. And is there any comments from the audience? If there is, we need your name and address.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a report from the executive committee. We had a strategic planning initiative, and the chairman is going to possibly direct us at the next meeting over here, our next meeting, to direct us to possibly come up with a building code that maybe the other towns could adopt that would help address the sound insulation as far as windows, roofs, doors, things like that. Another thing he was talking about too is maybe we get some of the towns to put on their zoning map to let new residents know where the maybe the center line of runways are, possibly showing the noise contours and maybe other sound information so that new residents know if they're going to be affected by the airport or not. But this will be something out at our next meeting here.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Very good.
Chairman, I just wanted to recognize that ONCC Chairman Joe Annunzio is also on the call. He wanted to attend our meeting today and say hello. So I just wanted to
Yeah, I'm glad I
recognize
saw him
that he
earlier.
was here.
Yeah, I saw him in the video. Yeah, glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't think we have any comments from the audience. So we need a motion for adjournment. In a second.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a
I'll
second.
second.
Okay, we need to take a roll call. Roll call, please.
Maura, you're on mute.
Yeah,
there
I
you
know.
go.
Thank you. Bensonville,
Yes.
City of Chicago Board 41,
Yes.
Melrose Park,
Yes.
Norwich,
Yes.
Park Ridge,
Yes.
and Schiller Park.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Have a good
Bye,
day.
everyone.
Good job, Maura. Thank you.
Thank you.